six-figure shawty and she roleplay. Got a whole lot of bodies tryna hold me. Got a face that's doing numbers like the Rolex. Did I forget to mention that I ride my own way? I got a six-figure shawty and she roleplay. I got a whole lot of bodies tryna hold me back. Got a face that's doing numbers like the Rolex. Did I forget to
Give a little
mention that
intro
I
here
ride
for
my
the
own
listening
wave now?
audience. We have an up-and-coming artist known as Wondr, which is spelled Wondr. Uh, he's a songwriter, he's a producer, he's a singer, and he's online now. And we're going to talk about some of these latest releases that he has pushed out and find out a little bit more about him. So, Wondr, what's going on? Give us a little background on your history and what you're doing with music.
Yeah, I go by Wondr, like you just said. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina. Currently hanging in Charleston, South Carolina right now during this whole pandemic. I grew up doing music. Was doing it through middle school, high school, got into hip hop, later high school. And, the past 2 years, I've been taking it pretty seriously as a career and just been putting out a bunch of music. And yeah, I'm here to talk about a couple new records I got out.
So before we get into the actual new releases, which genre are you most closely aligned with? Would you say R&B,
Yeah,
hip hop, pop, rock? What? Give me that.
yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard to figure out exactly what genre, to place yourself in these days. I feel like it's getting spread so thin and everyone's doing a little bit of something. And I
Hmm.
grew up on classic rock and that definitely is an influence for me. And I think if I was gonna narrow it down, it'd be hip hop R&B. So like contemporary R&B, something around there.
Okay. Yep. So I read that you produce. Did you produce both of these new releases, or pretty much all your music yourself, including mix down, production, and all that?
So for these last two releases I just put out the past 2 weeks, I did all the production, all the recording, engineering, mixing, mastering. I did everything on these last two records. The records prior to those, I had friends who produced them, and I had friends who engineered them, who I worked closely with growing up. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of try it myself and save a little bit of money, and also focus on getting that 100% ownership.
Yeah. What's the hardest part about production for you? Is it just coming up with the initial ideas? Do you flow once you sit down? Are you ready to go? Do you
Mhm.
often get writer's block? What challenges are you facing, if any?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think there's always challenges and roadblocks when I'm trying to do music. But I think for me, it's really just about not overthinking it. Because when I start overthinking and I start, meddling in, one idea on a beat, I get lost, and
Hmm.
that can really hold me back. I'll spend like 2, 3 hours on a beat when it could have taken me 30 minutes. That's
Yeah.
just how it works sometimes because you're trying to make so many records and you're trying to write so many different lines, and sometimes you do get caught up. But other than that, just keeping my mind clear and not trying not to think too hard. That's like my main goal when I'm writing my music.
Yeah. Yeah. Who are some of your influences? Like who you
Um,
listening to? Who are you listening to today versus last week? Anybody new?
versus last week.
Anybody we know of?
Yeah, I wish I was listening to more music. I feel like I'm just so focused on my music right now. I'm like not even taking the time to get on new music on Friday and listen. But I still find time. I listen to a lot of Russ. I'm
Hmm.
inspired by his model and how he works. I think he's doing a lot of really good things, and he's showing a lot of young artists how to get control of their work and how to function in this industry, and that's really important. And I really do like the music he makes. I think he makes great, catchy music. Uh, and if I was going to say last week, I would probably say something like Drake or Amine. It's so all over the board though. There's so much music coming out. It's hard to keep track of
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah. No, you're right. It is hard to keep track of everybody. I'm the kind of the same way. So I do a little bit of music production as well. So, but what's interesting is that when I sit down to do production, I don't listen to any of my old stuff, and I don't listen to anybody else. It's like in that moment, I don't want to be influenced by anybody else except for what I'm feeling and how I want to project it onto the music. So I can appreciate that and I totally respect that, man. So man, let's
Yeah,
talk about these two. Oh, go ahead. I cut you off.
I was just agreeing with you, man. I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I think if you listen to something before you try to go and produce and write, you get too caught up in that like one record, and I think it does mess
Yep.
up your flow.
Yeah, it does. Let's talk about these new releases. Go ahead and run them down. Tell us a little bit about each one, and then we'll continue from there.
Sure, sure. So last week I dropped the first record. That was Dreamin', and that was the first record I wrote and produced when quarantine started because I kind of tried to take quarantine as an advantage in terms of just going and spending all my time working on music when I didn't have to be anywhere else. And that just happened to
Hmm.
be the first beat and the first song I wrote. And I didn't even cut it till like maybe last month because I wasn't even sure I liked it. I was like, I don't mess with this record. I don't think it's that cool. And then for some reason, I just picked it back up and I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna see what happens. I ended up loving it and came out really cool. There wasn't a whole lot of focus on what I was saying. I really wanted to just let it kind of go and roll and not get too caught up in thinking about the lyrics being specifically pointed at one
Hmm.
topic. And it kind of made it a fun record to write because I don't do that a whole lot. And yeah, it's called Dreaming. It's basically just about what I'm dreaming of becoming and what I dream to do in this life while I'm here. So
Hmm.
that's Dreaming. And this week, I guess last week now, 'cause it's Saturday, um, I dropped Wave, and that was a record I wrote later on. That's not I didn't make it too long ago, and I don't know. Wave was probably one of my favorite beats that I made in this process. Like I said, I took all quarantine to write music, and I think Wave was like the 17th or 18th record I made, and
Hmm.
it's basically just kind of highlighting, you know, I have a girlfriend who's just been mad supportive of me through this whole process, and it's a hustle trying to not have a job during COVID and not having a lot of work going on, and you're still grinding. And I've been doing this for like 2 3 years now, and I mean pretty much my whole life I've been doing it. So it's just like
Yeah.
an everyday hustle and grind, and just shedding light on those two things. Respect for her and what she does, and the inspiration she gives me in my music, and as well as taking that and harnessing my energy, and my hustle, and my flow, and putting it into one record, and trying to show another side of me. I'm not too egotistical all the time, and I try to hold back from being braggadocious or anything in my lyrics, but I just kind of wanted to
Yeah.
let it go on this one.
Yep. I hear that. So what's if you could work with any one artist right now, who would that be?
I got asked this question just last week, and I think
Did
I'm
you?
gonna still stick with Danny Lee. I really like her music. I've liked her music for a long time now. Um, and before she really kind of took off, I was just like, that's. I even sent her to my brother. I'm like, I want to work with this girl. I think we can work with her because she wasn't really popping at the time. And I was like, I think we can make this
Yeah.
happen. But then she blew up, and I was like, all right, might take me a minute to get there, but she'd be a really cool artist.
Yeah. So what's it like for you? Actually, since you've been doing this about 3 years, what was it prior to that? What were you doing prior to taking music to a different level of seriousness?
Yeah, I was in a duo when I was in college. I started a rap duo with me and one of my close friends, and we both just been writing music and doing all that kind of stuff for fun. And we started playing shows and getting really into it. And I was focusing on that, just kind of enjoying it and having fun, not taking it 100% seriously, but you know letting it settle in. And I was working at the time as well. I was working valet for a long time in college, which is parking cars valet, not valet.
Hmm.
People get that confused sometimes. And I started modeling as well, and that's something I currently do now, just because it, I don't have to work a whole lot. It gives me a lot of freedom. I get to pretty much spend 24/7 working on music and taking a job here and there. And it's been an awesome,
Hmm.
addition to my career because it definitely combines with the music stuff. You get used to being in front of the camera. You get used to working with other
Yeah.
people. You make new connections, and it's just been a huge blessing, man. Being able to do that, being able to do music, I'm extremely fortunate. So yeah, man, that's pretty much what it's been.
Okay. Nice. All right. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna get into this new song and we're gonna play it right now live. So everybody listening right now, this is Wondr and this is Wave.
Got a six-figure shawty and she roleplay. Got a whole lot of bodies tryna hold me. Got her faces doing numbers like the Rolex. Did I forget to mention that I ride my own way? I got a six-figure shawty and she roleplay. Got a whole lot of bodies tryna hold me back. Got her faces doing numbers like the Rolex. Did I forget to mention that I ride my own way? Now I ride my own way. It's never lonely. If my life was Vegas, this be Circus Soleil. Way this shit hit different, got 'em flipping like a roll cage. Trying to keep my distance, but they can't even ignore me. Goddamn fake tans wanna boot, yeah. Put 'em in the ambulance, call that shit the school, yeah. I've been rocking Timberlands just to touch my roots, yeah. Haven't seen my family since, I don't know it's loose. Yeah, here we go again. Yeah. Getting back to basics like I'm scrolling through the gram. Yeah. I'm just saying I want my pay up in advance. Yeah. I'm just saying this smoke will make 'em want it, Danny, man. So many men just hate what they see. A young kid making something of me. Don't hate cause you wanna be. Got a six-figure shawty and she roleplay. Got a whole lot of bodies tryna hold me. Got her faces doing numbers like the Rolex. Did I forget to mention that I ride my own way? I got a six-figure shawty and she roleplay. Got a whole lot of bodies tryna hold me back. Got her faces doing numbers like the Rolex. Did I forget to mention that I ride my own way now? Just another Rolling Stone, keep your feet tapping. Once I up and get the foreign, I'll be Mick Jagger. Never felt the same way, no, I swear I haven't. Never on the same page, cause I'm flipping passion. I'm a trendy bachelor, yeah, I hate to have it. But this Orlando magic puts me in a different bracket. I go tit for tat with anyone who's talking that shit. They can get static. Many men, so many men just hate what they see. A young kid making something of me. Don't hate cause you wanna be on the road and I'm chasing after bigger dreams. So phenomenal, trying to get some bigger rings. 27 records I produce just to do the thing. I prefer the phantom over gold, sit for measuring. Numbers do the talking, yeah. Guess it's just my logic, yeah. But they've been out of pocket, think a little cloud will pop it. Solve it, never stop it, but that don't keep the profit, yeah. So let me be the prophet, Many men, so many men just hate what they see. A young kid making something of me. Don't hate cause you wanna be. Got a six-figure shawty and she roleplay. Got a whole lot of bodies tryna hold me. Got her faces doing numbers like the Rolex. Did I forget to mention that I ride my own way? I got a six-figure shawty and she roleplay. Got a whole lot of bodies tryna hold me back. Got her faces doing numbers like the Rolex. Did I forget to mention that I ride my own way now? Got a six-figure shawty and she roleplay. Got a whole lot of bodies tryna hold me back. Got her faces doing numbers like the Rolex. Did I forget to mention that I ride my own way? I got a six-figure shawty and she roleplay. Did I forget to mention that I ride my own way now?
Yes, sir. That's
Yeah, I was
Wondr
feeling that.
live. Yeah, it's pretty catchy
Appreciate that.
actually. Yeah, good tone, man. You really you're doing your thing and it shows. So definitely.
Thank you.
Man,
Thank you.
you know, I read on your so I got a question about the track too, like what are you using for production? Like what's one of your weapons that, you know, you use when you're in the studio producing new stuff?
For like the beat making process, you think?
Yeah, what's your digital audio workstation or a favorite
Yeah,
piece of gear? Something like that.
sure, sure. Yeah, so I use Ableton for making my beats. I think that's like been one of the clutchest things for me. Uh, the way that you can load samples in it, it's just a super easy DAW to work on. I think it's really intuitive, and man, you can really make beats hit hard on there. And I actually record all my stuff though. I record everything in Logic. Kind of makes it a bit
Hmm.
of a process for me, just because I record in Logic, and I'll do my mixing and mastering in Ableton. Um,
Oh
I don't know
wow.
what it is. I think I just find a better workflow in Ableton. But
Yeah,
yeah, man, I think that's definitely one of my weapons, is Ableton.
yeah, that's funny. You mix down in Ableton, so you're recording through actually your production is in Ableton, vocals are dropped into Logic, and then you're
Mhm.
still exporting back to Ableton. That is a
Yeah,
long workflow.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's just hard to record lyrics. I mean, record vocals into Ableton. Something about the DAW just makes it a little bit not as clean as Logic, I feel like.
yeah, yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So I read on one of your bios that you were at one point, or maybe you still are, aspiring to be a race car driver. What's going on with there?
Dude, I love racing, man. Anything with a motor in it, I just really enjoy going fast. And I think when I was a kid, my dad took me to a few NASCAR races in Charlotte when we were really young, and that was back when Dale Earnhardt Sr. was driving, and uh, I don't know what it was, man. I just fell in love with the speed, and I just fell in love with his car, the black, all black, with the three on the side, the Intimidator. His whole his just image was so cool to me. He felt like he seemed like a rebel. He just stood out from
Hmm.
everybody else, and didn't really take any slack from anybody. That's kind of how I try to pursue my career as well. Just you know, not to intimidate everybody, but to like show them I got my own path. Like I just said on my last
Yeah.
record, my own wave, and um, but yeah, I think at some point I would love to try racing, whether it's NASCAR or Formula One or Formula Two, whatever it was. I would give it a shot in a heartbeat, but I first got to do this music stuff. I'm definitely more passionate about the music, but one day.
Yeah. Yeah. What's one of your favorite cars? Like if you were walking down the street and saw a car go by, what would that give me one or two?
Oh man, Whew.
And they
That's
don't have to be
hard. I
supercars,
think
you know what I mean? They don't have to be
yeah,
supercars. It could be, M3s, the Skylines, Subarus,
yeah.
what?
Hey, love is a Subaru, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Um, I think if I saw, I'll pick two cars. I will say first,
Okay.
um, a Lamborghini Diablo SV, one of my
Hmm.
like all-time favorite Lamborghinis, and for a less crazy of a car, um, we'll keep it American with the GT 500 Eleanor Mustang. That thing is nuts.
Yeah,
I
it
love that
is.
car.
Man, love that car. Yep, I do. I'm an enthusiast as well. So man,
I could tell.
what's going on? Yeah, we can talk cars all day, man. I'm in anything with a motor. Motorcycles, trucks,
Yeah,
whatever. Rear wheel drive, all wheel drive. We could go.
I
So,
love it, man. I'll have to call
but
you
yeah,
later
man.
then.
Yeah, no doubt. So what's up with the modeling side of things? And I'm curious to know where it has taken you as of right now, and then because you're so passionate about music, and we know that, you know, is the modeling thing something that you'll continue to pursue, or is it more of a kind of an a la carte, just kind of comes along with the territory? Tell us where
Hmm.
you fit into that scheme of things.
Yeah. Man, I never expected myself to get into modeling. That's for sure. It just kind of came randomly one day, and I didn't know how I was gonna like it. I was just worried just because I didn't know anything about it. you just hear stories about modeling, and you don't really experience it till you get into it. And I ended up actually really liking a lot, really liking the people I work with, really liking my agents and my agencies I work with, and
Hmm.
you get to go all over the place, and you do the craziest shoots. Everything is like from wearing a cowboy hat and being a cowboy for Wrangler, and going down to Grand Cayman Islands and taking photos for a cruise line. It's crazy where
Wow.
this has taken me, and it's been such a blessing, and to the point where I would definitely like to carry it over into my music career. Maybe not so much as it just being like you know just I'm modeling for a company as a model. I'm modeling for a company this time as Wondr, and which I've already kind of done.
Mm.
Last year we did a collaboration with Perry Ellis, um, America up in New York, and that was an awesome collaboration. They sent us a bunch of clothes. They were doing a collaboration with Urban Outfitters at the time, so the clothing line was
Hmm.
for Urban Outfitters, and we went out and shot photos in downtown Durham, downtown Raleigh with a close friend Blaine Gretzky and a killer photographer, and it was just a really cool experience being able to, for the first time, taking my modeling and being Wondr, being my artist as well, and kind of getting ourselves started in the brand collaboration, because I definitely want to work with a lot of brands as an artist. And you see like Kanye, you see Drake, you see these other big
Hmm.
artists, and that's definitely a big part of the career. So I definitely plan to bring it on over.
I see that as well. Yeah, definitely. Music and clothing pretty much go hand in hand, just like
Yeah,
food and music and dining and the entertainment side of it. And speaking of entertainment,
sure.
how many times have you performed live? I know COVID is obviously in the midst of everything right now, slowing things down. But prior to COVID, was that a passion? Some artists are studio artists, or they
Hmm.
prefer to be in the studio recording, but not necessarily performing live. So what is that for you? You know, have you been performing live? I know you had the band in college or the group in college,
Hmm.
and you probably that's probably where you started. But as a professional artist under the name Wondr, what have you been doing in the public eye?
Yeah, man, I love performing. Performing is a big challenge for me, and I like challenges in this music stuff. You get really comfortable being at home and being in the studio because you have no one around you like judging you or looking you watching you do it. So you get to be a little bit more composed. But I think when you get on stage, it's like a whole other experience, and you really gotta perform your record live, and that's definitely a challenge, and I love that. And being able to see the audience and the fans react as you're performing is like nothing else. And so when I moved to North Carolina, we hit the ground running on the live performances. Man, I think I've
Hmm.
played like maybe 6 or 7 shows in the past year. Um, I think I moved back to North Carolina like a year and a half ago. I can't really remember. We try not to oversaturate, because I don't want to go play a show every single week and people are going to hear the same songs every time. And I
Yeah.
needed to get more music out. So that's another reason why this COVID stuff's kind of been a blessing, because I've been able to put more time into making a lot of music. So when I go play these shows now, I just have a catalog to choose from. And when people go to my shows and they leave the show, they have something they can listen to instead of just like 2 or 3 records. I think that leaves a lot of fans hanging. And so we're definitely looking forward to this stuff clearing up so we can finally go and play some more live shows. I'm definitely looking forward to getting back out there in Raleigh, and hopefully in other cities as well. Getting back out, man. I think I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, everybody is. So I'm curious, man. When you're performing live, so two things. One, are you running? What do you bring? And like, what are you playing your music off of? So I've witnessed and have had you know technical issues pop up. So what are you
Mhm.
running your music off of when you're performing live?
I usually have a DJ. DJ is usually running it off his computer. He usually has some kind of DAW on his computer that he's running everything through.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely we practice and stuff beforehand just to make sure the technical difficulties are like to as minimum as possible. It seems like with a lot
Yeah.
of live shows though, man, it's hard just because you never know if like an audio is gonna cut out, and it may not even be the DJ's fault. It may not be the engineer's fault. It just could have been by chance.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
So do you do any experimental stuff on your shows? Meaning, when someone goes to your show, are they listening to your catalog that they're already familiar with, or are you throwing in teasers to just get an audience feel and appeal before you actually release it?
Yeah. So I've been doing that for sure. I think every show that I've done, I've been throwing a record in there or two where it's not released and it's just kind of a
Mm-hmm.
surprise, just to get feels and see how people think about it. I've definitely had a lot of records where I didn't end up going with it because of crowd reaction.
Yeah.
One thing I like to do for like the surprise stuff though, you were saying earlier, is I like to play guitar and bring that back in because I grew up playing guitar and drums and all these instruments, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I think I was just like, I need to just throw this into a show, and it's been really fun to like lay solos over beats and stuff that I've used, and just kind of challenges myself to have another thing too. I gotta do while I'm performing live, and I think that's a ton of fun. So I think that usually catches people off guard too. A little something to spice it up.
Yeah. So any show that you had any issues where you maybe forgot your lyrics, or you're playing a guitar live, and give me a good hiccup story.
Oh man, yeah. I don't think I've had like a show where I've literally like nailed it all the way through like to a T. But the beauty of it is a lot of like 90% of the time no one even knows because
Yeah.
they're just watching you live and it's a whole other experience. But yeah, there was my first show when I came back to North Carolina. I had this intro planned out. I had the piano set up. I was gonna do Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody right at the beginning, and so I started playing it. I was going and it was going well, and then I just like completely missed the note, and I just stopped, and I was like, all right, F it, that didn't work out. And like I just said it, and they're like, everyone just laughed, and they're like, I just went with it, and we just went into the next record, and it worked out just fine. I think it was probably better than even playing it all the way through.
Yeah, somebody would have been a trooper and just went ahead and just kept going. Well,
Yeah,
there's no reaction.
Everybody.
What's funny about that is that's that live feel that you just can't get while listening through a Spotify or Instagram. And not that those platforms aren't important, but that's why people love this live show, because you just never know. Like, it's so impromptu, and I think that that's the draw, man. People want to see how you are, what's going to happen. Are there going to be any hiccups? Is he really truly singing the song? Does it sound the same? So yeah, man. Any mistakes like that on live shows, I think, are completely forgivable, and people just understand that it just happens. You're human, so keep going, man. Keep performing, and it's gonna be even more beneficial for you. Once the COVID thing is kind of under wraps. But yeah, man. So, man, I appreciate talking to you, man. Do you want to give any shout outs? We definitely want to get a shout out from you. Just let everybody know that you're on Shut 'em Down Radio. And then, is anybody else you want to shout out to? Go ahead and do that now.
Well, I appreciate you for having me on Shut 'em Down Radio. It's been awesome talking to you. Want to shout out Cypher Projects, Menace Zero Entertainment, the whole team. Bunch of really good dudes. Definitely want to shout out Shay Foot, my PR. She's one of the baddest in the industry doing it. She hooks up all these interviews, man, and she's just a killer worker. So, yeah, man. Everyone I've worked with, anyone who's ever helped me out, man. But I think that's all I got.
Yeah. Hey, that's all we need, man. So we appreciate you. Man, you know what I didn't get is actually I have your stage name, what is your real name?
Yeah, my real name is Ryan O'Leary.
Okay, cool. Cool, Ryan. It's nice to put a real name to the stage name. We can kind of
Yeah,
get some perspective. But yeah, man, I appreciate you having you on the show. Obviously,
thanks for
welcome
having
to
me.
come back on the show anytime. We'll reach out to you again. And man, keep up the good work. The songs are hot. Even
Thank you.
one of the other tracks I listened to was Jungle Juice. And the video
Yeah,
was on one of your EPKs. So yeah, man, it's definitely you got the sound, you got the talent. So I know you got the vision. So man, make it happen and let's keep it moving. So I appreciate it.
thank
And
you so much.
man, you're welcome, man. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good rest of your weekend.
All right, sounds good. You too.